Hello, my yarn smithing lovelies. We're here again in central UK in my studio. You're very welcome. If you haven't seen me before, I'm Simon Henry, and this is where we gather to talk all things yarn craft. Today, I'm going to talk about something a little bit different. You know that quite often I'm doing reviews of yarn from Temu. Well, I was asked to do reviews of some yarn from Turkey, from Ice Yarns. Their website is Yarn Paradise directly, and I thought, well, I'm going to have a little go. I'm going to order some stuff because you know me, I hate ordering yarn. Yeah, as if. I'll see you in a minute. So, a couple of things to address first. Let's have a little look. I'm not actually going to do any hate at the end of this video because it kind of gets included as we go along. So I'm not sure if that's going to be popular or not. So there's a piece of work that keeps mailing me to tell me I've got stuff wrong. She never says she likes the videos, this woman. She's messaged quite a few times to say that I don't know what I'm talking about, and she doesn't make videos. So there was somebody else that said similar to what she'd said a while ago, which was about yarn weight. Now, there are so many different ways of referring to yarn weight. I have mentioned this before. In industry, we talk about yarn weight by numbers that we use. So if we're talking to somebody on the other side of the world and we refer to yarn weight by numbers, we use like 230s and all kinds of things. We all know what we're talking about. So I was kind of brought up in the industry to think of yarn by that. If somebody says that, use the numbering system to me, I know instantly in my head what that is. Because I've always knit and crocheted and all the other things. I tat and do bobbin lace and crochet and all kinds of stuff. But because I've always done that in the UK, also in my mind for domestic knitters, I think of yarn in terms of 2-ply, 4-ply, double knit, Aran, chunky, super chunky. Different places in the world, those mean different things. So when we're talking yarn weight, different countries also refer to it as different things. So on the last video I referred to DK as number 4, which most people apparently refer to DK as number 3. Some refer to it as number 2. So I've got no idea now, because obviously wherever you're watching it in the world, you're gonna think it's a little bit different. So what I'm going to do in future is I'm just going to refer to the weights by UK names. So I'm going to refer to it as double knit and chunky and Aran, etc., etc. And then I'm going to leave you to convert it yourself, no matter where you are. What I will do, I will actually say the needle size, because I've mentioned this before. when you're buying yarn off sites like Temu and like sites like Yarn Paradise, which I'm going to talk about today, it will often say the needle size, and that will give you a clue as to what that yarn thickness is. Mostly all over the world now, I'm saying mostly because I'm going to get into trouble again, mostly the needle sizes seeming to all come together. We're all starting to use the same needle size. In the UK, us really old-fashioned knitters, for example, if it's double knitting DK, we would have used a needle what we called size 8. Now we refer to that as 4mm. And again, everybody's different. Every country uses something a little bit different. So I'm going to refer to needle sizes rather in millimeters from now on. And I'm also going to refer to yarn, if I know the weight, I'm going to refer to it by UK terms. And I'm also going to mention at times, if I've done a tension swatch myself on certain needle size, I'm going to tell you what that is as well, and hopefully that will give you a little clue as to what it is we're actually talking about. So we hope that's cleared that up. I hope I'm not going to get corrected again. Honestly, I'm trying my best. I'm an old fat bloke sitting in my studio trying to pass on the years of knowledge, and all I do is get into trouble. Anyway, moving on. I was asked to have a look at, because a lot of people said that I was always referring to yarn, or I was doing reviews on yarn that's processed in China and spun in China. I do that an awful lot. A massive percentage of the world's production of yarn comes from China. Second biggest is Turkey. So their biggest supplier worldwide that send wool yarn all over the world is Yarn Paradise, or you'll see often on the label it says Ice Yarns. A lot of places now worldwide are franchised to Yarn Paradise, and they sell ice yarns in their particular countries. So if you Google ice yarns, it will probably come up with your country's particular supplier. If not, look for Yarn Paradise. They ship all over the world. There isn't anywhere they don't ship to. I believe, I don't know if it's still the same, because of the tariffs, they did stop their shipments to the US. Correct me if I'm wrong. I've left the bingy bongy on again. Did you hear that? I've not done that for ages. But I bet I'll be I bet I'll be told off for that. I'm going to turn it off. Hold on. Turn off the bingy bongy. There you go. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think at the moment they've stopped shipping to the US, but you can still have a look. What you can probably do is find your local supplier of ice yarns, because most countries have got a franchise where they'll ship from there. The thing with Ice Yarns and Yarn Paradise, they're continuously producing new types of yarn. In the business we call them fancies, and they don't always conform to the standard yarn weights, double knit, Aran, all that stuff. They do mention on the site, by the way, what needle size most of them are recommended. But if you want something that's really unusual, just go and search through. I was on a good couple of hours the other night just flicking through all of their new yarn types. Quite often, by the time I get a yarn from there, it's already gone. They only do a certain amount of it, and then they go on to the next fancy. So it's no good me giving you, you know, the links to the yarns that I've bought, because by the time you get there, they've probably already gone. But I'm going to give you an idea of the type of thing that they do. So this was the first one that I got. This is pure wool, and it really is lovely. Did you see me? Did you see me snipping the yarn again? You'll see that now. There were a few people that thought at the beginning of the videos when I was saying happy yarn smithing and all that kind of stuff, they thought I was saying happy yarn sniffing. We'll do both, because I often smell the yarn as well. When you've been in the business a long time, you do get used to what certain things feel like, and also what certain things smell like. Pure wool has got a particular smell, and this is the business. So when you look on there, you'll think it's incredibly cheap. Bear in mind that these are manufacturers. This is coming direct to you from the manufacturer. When you buy from the franchise in your own company, it's going to be more expensive. When you buy from Yarn Paradise, it's coming directly from the manufacturer. You will think, oh, that's marvellous, that's too good to be true. When you get to the end and they add the shipping costs, it more or less doubles the cost of the yarn. So it's not as cheap as you think. I went through and I was adding loads of stuff to the basket because I thought, oh crikey, look at that. And then I was really shocked when I checked out. But this one, their pure wool, is gorgeous. I mean, it really is lovely. It's making my nose itch now because I've snipped it. They did a lovely mohair one that's kid mohair and acrylic mix, and that's gorgeous as well. And what I did, I actually knitted something that was like with both of these. I think it was a crochet thing that I did for our Patreon site, I think, and that was using these two twisted together and knitted together, crocheted together rather, at the same time. Lovely. So because I started ordering a bit of fluff, I also ordered this one. This is a 50% kid mohair, and then it's got some nylon and some acrylic in there, but you'll see that's really, really fluffy. When that's brushed, in the old days, I'm going back to kind of the 80s, everybody went mad on what they called mohair sweaters. It actually wasn't mohair, but everybody went mad on it, and we knitted up in this fluff, and then we got a thing called a teasel brush, and we brushed the jumper like mad when we'd finished, to make it as fluffy as possible. They used to be huge, these jumpers did, because they were really fluffy. We used to do them in really, really bright colours, and there was a couple of shops that I supplied, and literally we couldn't make them fast enough, and there was me and a couple of others on the knitting machines, and the knitting machines used to hate it because it all used to get tangled up in there. And then we had a couple of people that just did teasel brushes, and they were brushing it like that. And fortunately, that fashion didn't last very long. But this would teasel, this would brush up. So if anybody remembers those jumpers from the 80s, everywhere you went, you left bits of fluff around. You couldn't have an affair with anybody because they'd be covered in the fluff from your jumper. and everybody would know. So anyway, fluff it. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I haven't got the faintest idea. I've got a bag full of this. So again, as I was clicking through, I thought, ooh, look at this. I don't know if you can see the sparkle in that. It really is gorgeous. It is. What does it say? I mean, this is kid mohair, and I think it's 50-50. Yeah, 50 kid mohair, 50% acrylic. It must have a little bit of, oh, I'm wrong, 45% acrylic and 5% metal thread, which is the sparkle that's going through it. It really is gorgeous. So I thought, I know, I'll wind it on because it's really fine. I'll wind it into a ball and I'll stick it through the knitting machine and see what I could make. Didn't like it at all. It got caught up, and anybody who's tried to knit with mohair on a knitting machine will know exactly what I'm talking about. So I think this one I'm going to end up having to hand knit something. I might actually do sister-in-law, perhaps a shawl or something for Christmas. We're off with a cruise, on a cruise with them again next year with sister-in-law and brother-in-law, and they have a white night on the cruise that we're going on. So I might do something in that. And then this one, which I've not even opened yet, this is, you'll have to excuse the noise. That's the thing from there, they always come in noisy bags. This is viscose and it says metallic. This again, I don't know if you can get it, but it's really sparkly. Actually, I think that would probably mix with that really well. So I might do something along those lines. And in the old days, you can tell I'm getting old. I keep talking about the old days before the war. We'd call this a bit of Lorex. Let's say, Mandy, you're going out in your Lorex top. And that'd be something like this. So, oh, you can get the sparkle now on it. Look, oh, it's lovely. So again, I've got no idea what I'm going to do with this stuff, and I just order it to see what was going on and to have a little flick through on Yarn Paradise. Go to Yarn Paradise, just Google it. Slightly different address depending on which country you're in. It might try and direct you to Ice Yarns, but if you can get to Yarn Paradise, that's where it all comes from, and it's a little bit cheaper. But you will find that the postage and packaging, you know, the shipping will really sting you. So when I added all this up and then we put the shipping on, it still worked out quite a bit cheaper than what I would be able to, even if I could get some of this from elsewhere. It worked out a little bit cheaper than that. The main reason I think to go there is just to get very unusual yarns. So for people that weave, it would be brilliant. For machine knitters, they do, you know, quite a lot of things on there. And if you want to just design something for yourself, it would be quite hard to find patterns to go with this kind of stuff. So it's only really for people, I think, that you're going to do something yourself. Somebody actually asked me if I would do that, go through the whole design process from start to finish, because they wanted to be able to do it for themselves. I don't think I can do that in a 20-minute video. I might have a little go. We'll have a little look. So anyway, that's that. Like I said, no particular hate apart from Mrs. Woman who wants to correct me all the time. hopefully you understood that, what I was saying about the yarn at the beginning. It's going to be easier if I just refer to all that in UK terms and then leave you to convert that yourself. So in the meantime, please like and subscribe. That honestly really does help the channel. It does something to the YouTube algorithm so that it puts these videos out to many more people, and we can build a lovely community. And talking of which, pop over to the Patreon channel and have a look at what we're doing over there. We're doing a knit along at the moment. We're getting new subscribers all the time, and we've got a lovely group over there, and we're all doing, I think I showed this on the last video, we're all doing this knit along at the moment. This is a bit of classic Fair Isle with a steek, so we're going to actually cut it when we've done. So they're all terrified. I'm quite looking forward to it. So like I said, in the meantime, please like and subscribe. It's been lovely to have you along. Happy yarn smithing, or happy yarn sniffing, whichever you prefer. Very much love as always, and I'm going to see you really soon. Bye bye.